You know what, I just can't wrap my head around? Why any MMA promotion does not take advantage of the UFC's big break every year. We're going to talk about that today. It's probably going to be a little bit of a quick video, and I'd love to know what you guys think about it down below afterwards. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. Let's talk about this. So, like I said, I've been thinking about this because, obviously, many of us have been thinking about MMA while we haven't had any fights, and every single year, the UFC takes some time off somewhere around December. We have a few weeks break. Like, this is a little bit longer than they usually have their break, but still, what have we had? Have we had a Ryzen event? I didn't watch. There was one other promotion that was on that I never caught, but other than that, we've had one Octagon event. And what happened during that Octagon event? It was a Saturday in the middle of the day. They made it a really big card. They had some UFC fighters that signed with Octagon on that card, and what do you know? The entirety of the MMA fan base was sitting down actually watching Octagon. Now, I'm somebody who regularly views Octagon, so I'd be watching it either way, but there's no denying that, especially within the hardcore fan base, they have had many people talking about Octagon fights. These fighters, I've even seen people talking about UFC fighters. It's like, oh my god, this fighter's over here in Octagon. When did that happen? And the fights themselves ended up being great, and I would imagine that Octagon gained some new fans with this. Because honestly, it's a great promotion. They've been putting on great fights. I like the production. It's not like the best thing in the world. It's not like, if you guys don't follow the channel, my favorite promotions are UFC and One Championship. To me, it's not that level, but I love the days where Octagon starts at around 11 a.m., 12 p.m. I'll watch that for a little bit and then switch over to UFC when it's on around 4 or 6 o'clock. I'm very, very excited for it. I make an entire day out of it. Like, I am a fan of Octagon, and nobody would obviously really give Octagon a chance because it's more Eastern-based, and it's one of those, like, I don't want to say low-key, but in comparison to the UFC, it's one of those low-key organizations. Now, after this big event that they've had, the fights delivered, it's been awesome. Like I said, I would imagine that Octagon has gained quite a few new fans from that. What I don't get is why every promotion ever does not take advantage of the UFC taking time off. I understand that for a lot of the world, Christmas is around the corner, a lot of fighters that don't actually want to step in, but you would have more than enough to build a card out of, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people who would like to work through the holidays. Every single time any other promotion has their fights on the same day as UFC, there's no question about it within MMA fans. MMA fans are going to tune into the UFC. Why wouldn't you take advantage of them having so much time off? I'm talking Bellator, I'm talking PFL, every organization ever. GFL, this brand new fight league, why are we waiting until January for your big announcements? That's crazy, okay? The UFC's back on. Everybody's already talking about it. Arman Sarukian, Islam Makhachev, Merab Dvalishvili, Umar Nurmagomedov. You have all of these huge fights and huge cards, especially with the UFC, stacking them once January's coming back. Yeah, we're going to wait until January to have our giant announcements. Everybody was paying attention to the GFL in general. Why would you not have every MMA fan tuning in? Because everybody is starved for some content. Anybody online, whether it's YouTube, I know there's not a ton on Twitch, but Twitch, on X, wherever people post content, they're looking for breaking news to talk about. GFL would have been perfect to have their big announcements. Here's our teams. Make a big event out of it. Make a giant live stream about it. The entire hardcore MMA fan base would absolutely pay attention and tune into that. Any organization that's either losing numbers or trying to get their foot in the door, why not broadcast it somewhere? Even go on UFC Fight Pass. Do whatever you can, whatever promotion that you have to do to say, hey, we're going to have fights, and if I was in charge, man, I would make sure. Then, and I know there's probably some obstacles in the way, but every single weekend that the UFC's off, I'm having fight cards. I just don't get it. I don't get why people wouldn't capitalize on this. If you're competing with UFC, you're going to lose, no matter what organization you are. Why wouldn't you take advantage of them having their time off? I don't understand. And then we could all sit back and all MMA fans will be happy. MMA fans were hyped to watch Octagon. Now, I personally get hyped to watch Octagon, but I know that's in comparison, like I said, to the UFC, it's kind of niche within the hardcore fan base, right? I like the fact that everybody was coming down and watching Octagon. We could have done that for every single week with the exception of, I don't remember what day of the week Christmas was, but you get the point. Like, maybe you can take the week of Christmas off if you really want to. But again, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to work and fight throughout the holidays, so you could even then do that. I hope we see a change next year, to be honest with you, because I don't know why people aren't capitalizing on this. But with the still break that we have in MMA, why don't you check out this video where I actually talk about, like, hey, what do you guys do when there's no UFC on weekends? I talk about what I do and then what you would like to do in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys think about all of that. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care.